Welcome back. I told you your dad will be back. He's here today. We just did our warm-up, a $1 King of the Desert qualifier. Some wild shit went down. We had a 4-6, I don't even know, remember what it was. It was a 4-6-6-4 build. Something that you've never seen before. And it happened. That was just the warm-up. And what your dad's going to do now is he's going to enter himself into the $1.5 million play action on Draftkings Best Ball. It's a $3 buy-in. Let's just kind of quickly go through this here. There's 594,000 entrants, and this will fill. I guarantee this is going to fill. 20 max, entry max. And we thought the $1 was crazy. This one is going to be just as wild. Like I said, these drafts are the most fun because they are just so wild. You don't know what people are going to do. You have some newbies in there. You have some people that are sleeping on their phones. You have people that they don't give a shit. They're just auto drafting. And then some people just want to draft, a naked Joe Burrows with 3 running backs in their first 4 picks. So, exciting stuff. It's fun to do. Sometimes you get some awesome teams. Sometimes it just turns into complete shit. But that's the fun thing about best ball, right? It's the variance in not only football itself, but I guess, best ball drafts have so much variance that you got to kind of adjust to. So without that being said, let's get in on one of these tournaments. Let's go through the whole process and let's have a chance to win some money. So while we wait, please like and subscribe if you enjoy any of this content that I put out. I'm always, like I said, always looking for feedback. So if you do want to comment on what you've done, or maybe you want to join in on a draft with me, I definitely would enjoy doing that. Just love best ball, and we're in the meat of things. 1 more month left, pretty much less than a month left, and we get to enjoy football. And all that hard work that we put in these drafts will come into fruition. And that's 14 weeks of torture, 14 weeks of sweating out the teams to see where we land. And I wouldn't want it any other way. So, wow, number 1 pick kind of goes with the stream, eh? Actually, no, I don't think I have Jamar Chase as my thumb, but maybe I will include Jamar Chase as the picture. Number 1 pick. I don't think I'm going to hide this one. I don't think I get number 1 often, so I don't have many Jamar Chase teams because he usually does go 1, and I've seen him latest go at number 3, I believe, in a draft, I think on Underdog. So normally if you don't have the first, the first pick, you don't have the first pick, you're not getting Chase. And if the odd thing you do get Chase, it's usually you need number 2 or 3 to kind of make that happen. He is not falling to pick number 7 in any of the drafts I've seen, but you never know. Okay. Play action, wild stuff. The dollar King of the Desert qualifier, that's pretty wild. Gonna be interesting to see what happens this season with the Bengals. I think not much is going to change. Their defense is going to be horrible, and they are going to have to put up quite a few points to actually win. Hopefully they get off to a better start than they did last year and make a play in the playoffs, a push to the playoffs. But yeah, that defense is going to be horrible, I believe. And so they're going to have to score quite a few points. So without further ado, let's welcome Jamar Chase to this team. And it's funny how it kind of works out with the Bengals in the way that their ADP is set up and also in your draft position. So depending on where you get Chase, you have a really good chance of getting, Jamar, T. Higgins, and Chase Brown if things fall right as a first round pick. So if that happens, I'm gonna jump on it for sure, 100%. If I get the opportunity to take all three of the Bengals with my first 3 picks, I'm gonna let it ride, and then we'll just fill in the gaps as we go. But I think it is gonna be very common. It's not something like where you kind of reach or you have to kind of navigate the draft or get lucky. I think there's gonna be a lot of teams with that same type of format, especially the earlier teams, because I think Chase Brown wasn't going as early as he is now, because there's always a concern of maybe them taking a running back or trading for a running back or signing one in free agency, or just not, there's no guarantee of his role. But obviously Chase Brown's kind of gone up in ADP in the last few weeks as training camps open, and as well as coaches' comments as to how they plan to use him and make him their guy. So definitely not as easy as it used to be. Like I would say earlier July, late June, it was very easy to get all 3. But now it might be a bit of a challenge. So we'll see what happens. Fingers crossed. But yeah, and then what happens is you get those 3 if you do, and then Burrow kind of falls in there around that turn of that 4th, 5th turn if you're the number 1 pick. So very easy to get all 4. Not as easy as to get all 4 than it was earlier this offseason, but still possible. But like I said, this play action is very, very wild. It's no holds barred. A lot of shit goes down, so you got to be prepared to lose Burrow in the 3rd round, and that's just the way it goes, right? You can't expect people just to let you have stacks. People don't give a shit. They're gonna take who they want to take, and in some cases, you're gonna have a guy that will probably take a Burrow naked with no pass catchers on that team. So, yeah. Kind of seeing what's happening so far. No major surprises, I don't think, in this draft. Lamar Jackson goes first pick of the 2nd round. Pretty early for Lamar, so that would be a surprise, I guess. Not a crazy move. Like, it's still Lamar Jackson, and I think he's primed for a big year. So Chase Brown does go. Yeah, I had a little bit of hope there, but that's gone. The CMC drafter takes Chase Brown to start off with 2 running backs. Then we get Jonathan Taylor going next. So if Higgins is there, I'll obviously definitely take Higgins. And I think he will be. And then it's kind of wondering if I should take a running back or not. Maybe just roll with Higgins and McBride, maybe. I don't mind Jacobs there. I don't think there's not much change, I feel like, to his. So yeah, interesting. Mike Evans goes. So now I have a little bit of a dilemma of what I'm going to do. Do I take Ladd? Okay, let's just take T. Higgins. Obviously, that's something I'm going to end up doing. Look at this dilemma here. Either go with another wide receiver, go with a running back, or go with a tight end. Stud tight end. Oh my God. This is not easy, folks. Let's go with a tight end. Let's go with Josh Jacobs. Tight end. Let's go with a running back. Let's go with Josh Jacobs here. Yeah, a little bit of a... Yeah, like I said, that's a hard decision. I like a Trey McBride quite a bit. I could have gone with him. I just think that Jacobs' role as the lead running back on the Packers is so secure this year. You have Marshawn Lloyd that potentially could give him some issues in regards to him coming up the depth chart and possibly taking some carries away, but he's been so injury prone, right? I think he was injured in the earlier in this training camp, missed majority of the first training camp, didn't even play in the first preseason game. I think he's back in training camp now. Like, I think he's practicing again. So hopefully he can stay healthy, but I feel like that guy's one of those guys that's just gonna have unlucky injury luck, right? When it comes to just nagging injuries or something that pops up all the time with that guy. So, but I think if he stays healthy, yeah, there's potential for him to step in, but like, I don't think they're going to go away from Josh Jacobs this year. So I think his like role as RB1 is secure. And if it's anything like last year, like, they don't care to pass. Green Bay is okay with just running the ball. And I know they added Matthew Golden, but I was just reading Jordan Love just had some thumb surgery, I guess. Like, so not sure what his like availability is gonna be for this rest of this training camp, maybe the beginning of the year. I think it's pretty short timeline as to when he's gonna be back, so I don't think it's gonna be an extended absence. But once again, it just shows that, you know, Jordan Love sometimes can potentially get injured, and that kind of derailed them last year in terms of switching from a balanced offense to just a run heavy offense. So, and I think, why not? If that worked for them last year, and it did, like, they did pretty well, why not stick to that same formula? And I think Josh Jacobs is a big part of that. You know, there's quite a bit of talent there, and he kind of is primed for another big year. So I went with Josh Jacobs there. Like I said, you can't go wrong. I had Ladd available to me, and I also had Trey McBride. So if I had taken any of those, if I had taken Ladd or McBride, I don't think, I don't think I'd regret it. So coming around here pretty quick, I got a Joe Burrow available to me, as long as no one else screws the hell out of me. Most likely going to take him. And then I'm between Jameson, Metcalf, and Sutton. So, yeah, obviously, you know, this guy wanted to take Joe Burrow. Oh my God, Big Hoss 87. Big Hoss 80. What is up with these guys taking 3 running backs and then 1? Oh my God. Just my luck, eh? Just my luck. When I thought I was able to land Joe Burrow, Big Hoss 87 throws a big ass kick in my ass, throws a friggin' wrench to my face, takes a naked Joe Burrow with 3 running backs. I think this is deja vu. This, honestly, I just saw this happen like not too long ago. So yeah, that is life, people. That is life. Let's do the Jameson Williams, and let's do the Cortland Sutton. Now, I could have gone Jalen Hurts and Devonta Smith. But I think potentially I don't mind getting Bo Nix. I feel like Bo Nix is just as comparable. Not to say he's Jalen Hurts, like he's not gonna put up. You know, Jalen Hurts has the ability to score 3 rushing touchdowns every game. So I'm not to say that, he's at Jalen Hurts level, but he gives him comparable scoring as a quarterback. And this way because I'm so heavy with the Bengals, I am isolated on that team. So I just kind of, I guess, mix it up with my wide receivers and take Jameson Williams, get exposure to that Detroit offense, which I think is going to be just as good as last year. I don't think there's any difference between them from last year and this year. I know people are getting worried, they're getting a new OC. Ben Johnson is gone, but you know who else got a new OC last year and did just fine? The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Okay, that was a concern. Dave Canales moved on. They had a pretty good year the year before. Dave Canales moved on. Liam Cohen stepped in. He was, I think, the pass game coordinator at that time. stepped into the OC role, and Tampa Bay didn't even blink an eye. Like, they just went back to, like, I think they had better seasons than Dave Canales. Chris Godwin was doing well until unfortunately he got hurt. Mike Evans ate quite a bit. And then you had, players like Jalen McMillan scoring at the end of the year. Kate Otten was pretty decent. And obviously Baker Mayfield had one hell of a season. So I think it's a little bit overblown as to, like, the drop off in Detroit Lions. Will their schedule get harder? Definitely. I think last year they had a lot of indoor games in the Dome, which, historically is good for Jared Goff. This year they won't be as lucky. They have some games that they're gonna have to play on the road and outdoors. So not that indoor, the indoor home cooking. That's not going to be available to them. Which means that if they're playing in tighter games, that means they're going to throw more, and that means there's potentially more passes to Jameson Williams, right? And then there's always that good coach speak, right? The coaches, we want to get it to Jameson Williams. He's explosive. The new OC loves him. So, yeah. And just the next one was Cortland Sutton. I think we showed Bo Nix. Bo Nix shows that he's for real. That's his number one guy. That's his wide receiver one. So why not just, kind of stick to something that you've seen works. And Cortland Sutton got paid. So, there's no, one of those, like, I'm not going to practice. I'm not going to training camp. He's happy. He's in training camp. He's ready to roll. And he's the number one wide receiver on that team. So, and then now you got a pretty good run game as well, which should be improved from last year. So I think that Denver offense is going to be just as, like, awesome as they were last year. I mean, maybe even better, because I think the run game's got a lot better with RJ Harvey and Dobbins compared to Javonte Williams and, McLaughlin and Estime and whatever idiots they were rolling around last year, Tyler Bidet. I think we're okay with those two picks. Let's see what's happening in this draft board. I told you it's going to be wild. Nothing too crazy. Obviously, Big Hoss has taken 4 running backs. He does not give a shit. He is playing the hero wide receiver game. 4 running backs, 1 quarterback. My quarterback. That's my quarterback. Took my quarterback naked. No pass catchers yet, obviously, so it is no type of stack. Let's see if he takes another running back. He obviously will, because he's an idiot. Let's see. Don't disappoint, Big Hoss. Take that running back. We want to see it. The people need to see it. I need it for my viewers. I need my viewers to see, oh, why would you take a wide receiver? Come on, man. There go all my viewers that were waiting for a running back. So Dunze is gone. Let's see what happens the next one. I think I am going to, I always get scared. I just never know what's going to happen. I'm always just kind of, and Jared Goff goes. So there goes a potential stack. Let's go with Matthew Golden. I have the Josh Jacobs. Let's go with Matthew Golden. I came on here talking about Green Bay, but I think Matthew Golden might be the last man left. There's not many guys left. I think Romeo Doubs got injured today, unfortunately. So, not looking good here. Let's take Tony Pollard. So obviously Tony Pollard is going to benefit if Tajay Spears does have to miss time to begin the season. High ankle sprain, like we talked about in the last stream, can be tricky. It can be either he's good to go and good for the rest of the season, or it can be one of those injuries he comes back too early and then re-injures it, or comes back and it just kind of aggravates again, or just kind of bothers him all season and he just can't get through it. So in that case, you can have Tony Pollard, who's going to be the unquestioned starter, and we don't have to worry about that, the potential of Tajay Spears taking carries away, which has been mentioned quite a bit in the offseason that the coach even wants to give Tajay Spears more carries. So just going to be betting on Pollard being able to maybe handle the workload for the first few weeks, give me those points, and then we'll see what happens, right? Don't want to wish that Tajay Spears doesn't play, but at the same time, anytime that he is going to be out, Pollard is going to be the question, like the workhorse in the backfield there. It's this question mark on Diggs. Did he get injured at all? Okay, so nothing on Diggs, just that he didn't play in the preseason game number 1. So I think we're okay on that one. So I'm okay for, I think, wide receivers for a bit. I obviously have the Bengals stack there of the awesome duo of Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Then I took a Josh Jacobs to pair with Tony Pollard. So I have my running backs right now so far are Josh Jacobs and Tony Pollard. And I have 5 wide receivers: Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Jamison Williams, Cortland Sutton, and Matthew Golden. So I think I'm okay for wide receivers for a little bit, and maybe I'll focus now on my QB and tight end, and maybe a little bit of running back depth. I'm gonna hope for something, which probably won't happen because just my luck. Gonna hope for Bo Nix to come around again. I have a wild card here in Big Hoss 87. 4 running backs to start off with, naked Joe Burrow, and then now it just takes 2 wide receivers. I have the benefit of being right next to a best ball genius in load factor, who's taking 3 quarterbacks back to back to go with his 2 running backs and 2 wide receivers. Jalen Hurts, Jared Goff, and Caleb Williams back to back, 3 quarterbacks. Like, that is awesome. I don't know. I'm just so, scared right now. I'm next to 2 legends in terms of drafters, so I have no idea what's going to happen. Yeah, it's exciting stuff, guys. I feel like I can hold my own, but I just, I don't know. I know Bo Nix probably not going to end up with me. These guys are just I don't know what's going on auto drafting. Yeah, so Bo Nix goes. This is, like I said, it's just going to be one of those things. Gonna have to deal with it. Bo Nix gone naked. So I think one of the fundamentals of best ball that you kind of miss out on and become familiar with as you learn about best ball is stacking your quarterback with pass catchers, just so when a team does go off or a game goes off, you have all the important pieces of that game. So yeah, not a lot of running backs left. We have about 3 teams with 4 running backs already in the first 8 rounds. So wild stuff. One team has 1 running back, or 2 teams have 1 running back. So yeah, wild stuff going on. This man has load factor, has 3 quarterbacks, 2 running backs, and 2 wide receivers, because you just can't have too many quarterbacks, right? You just maybe take another one. Let's take another one. No, Jordan Addison. Wow. Okay, so I'm going to be playing with a little bit of fire here. Let's take ETN. And what tight ends are available to me? Joku. So I decided to go with 2 running backs back to back. And I pray I can get a quarterback in the next round coming around. So I took Jalen Warren and Travis Etienne. I'm just hoping that Jalen Warren is the guy. Obviously, Caleb Johnson is a great prospect and going to be pretty good in that offense. But at the same time, Jalen Warren is the number 1 PFF from last year. I think the best PFF pass protecting running back. So you know who cares about that the most? Mr. Aaron Rodgers. Okay, Mr. Aaron Rodgers is not going to stand in the pocket at 41 years old and want to get hit because his rookie running back blew a coverage, a block, right? So I think Jalen Warren is going to be Aaron Rodgers' preferred running back in the offense, and it's going to make sense because he's a good pass catcher as well. So Aaron Rodgers, as much as we say Aaron Rodgers wants to throw touchdowns, he is prone to throwing to his running backs. So I think Jalen Warren is for PPR in a PPR format when it comes to like Draftkings. I think we have the benefit of being able to take advantage of that pass catching ability. And the same thing goes for Travis Etienne, right? I was kind of encouraged by his usage in the preseason game. I think he played 100% with the starters. I don't think that, obviously that backfield is very muddied. We don't know what's going to happen. There's positive talks on Tank Bigsby. There's been good talk about Travis Etienne. Bashal Tutin's back now and practicing. He played pretty well in the preseason game. So I think it's gonna be one of those teams that might just have 3 running backs and until maybe an injury or some running back just takes over. But at the same time, when you have 3 running backs, there's so many limited opportunities, right? You only have a certain number of rushes to go around. So can you really stand out? Maybe I guess like in Tutin's format, if he's like putting up 5 yards per carry or 5.5 yards per carry and just busting crazy runs with that speed, then maybe you do give him more playing time. But it's going to be very limited the first few weeks. I don't know if they're going to really get a good handle on who should be taking a majority of the carries. The good thing about Etienne is he can catch. So like I said, in the PPR format, like Draftkings, that is very helpful. Tanks Bigsby is not involved in the passing game. Man has only caught like 8 passes, I think, in the last 3 years of being in the NFL. So don't look to him to be catching passes. And Tutin's a pretty good pass catcher, so I don't think there's going to be an issue with him. But at the same time, I think you get the benefit of the pass catching with Etienne, and it's a Liam Cohen offense, and I think what he preaches to his quarterback is take the easy passes, take what's in front of you. So if Lawrence has to go to Etienne, I think those easy dump offs are there for him. So yeah, went with that one there. I am now at a 4 running back, 5 wide receiver build coming up here pretty quick. My load factor is auto drafting. I repeat, he is auto drafting. So whoever's next on the queue will get sniped for me. That's just the way life goes. I don't have any control over that. So I'm going to have to let that just be. So I'm back on the board here. The Jordan Love one is kind of scary. He's been torn as a ligament injury. So it doesn't look like it's going to linger. Maybe it's going to help. I don't know. So if that's the case, let's go with Jordan Love and let's go with Trevor Lawrence as my 2 quarterbacks. So I'm still don't have a tight end. I'm going to kind of, run the risk of not getting a tight end. And normally I do like elite tight end. So, maybe me not taking Trey McBride, which I normally probably would have done if it wasn't maybe Josh Jacobs. Like if it was between Ladd and Trey McBride, I would have taken Trey McBride for sure. So not taking the elite tight end. I am actually waiting on tight ends at this stage of the game. I know Tucker Kraft went, so maybe I have a chance at Brenton Strange and just kind of build from there. But sorry, just circling back as to my quarterbacks. I took Jordan Love because I have the Jacobs and the Golden stack, so it just felt natural. Yeah, he's just had thumb surgery, and according to the news report, he's gonna be back to practice next week. So, and they have some time, right? They still have a month. So if he's not healed up completely, maybe they give him another week and get heals up, and he's back to throwing again, and we're fine. So just banking on, Love coming back, being able to kind of get back to that, not last year, 2023 Jordan Love that was, just balling out in the playoffs and throwing dimes. Now that he has Matthew Golden, that stack just felt natural. I had to do it. And I took Trevor Lawrence because I think with Trevor Lawrence, obviously Brian Thomas Jr., Travis Hunter go early, but you do have potential stacking partners with Trevor Lawrence later in the draft. In this case, I took ETN, and then, you have the ability to stack them with, Brenton Strange as a starting tight end, a Dwami Brown as a wide receiver 3, potentially Bashal Tutin later in the draft as your running backs. So, yeah, I think the ability, like I have ETN. So like I said, ETN's probably gonna be a pass catching running back in this offense. So there could be some dump offs there, potential passing touchdowns to each other, passing touchdowns from Trevor Lawrence to ETN. So I think that's why I took Trevor Lawrence. And my third quarterback was still yet to be decided. I'll kind of take a look as to what I can find and what I can potentially make there. So obviously tight end is a position of need for myself. I am starting with no tight ends. So gonna have to try to figure that out. So Big Hoss, not bad. Kind of had a little bit of recovery there. 4 good running backs, and then Odunze, Judy, Hawkinson, Godwin, Keenan Allen, Mims Jr. Like, not the worst. So Big Hoss coming back to life and just kind of slapping me in the face, just saying he's the big boss, I guess, in this sense. Load factor is obviously auto drafting, so the guy that's right before me or right after me, I guess. So he's a wild card as to what the computer is going to end up taking. But Jake Ferguson goes, so not many options left for tight end, right? I might have to start off with a Brenton Strange and go from there. So we got Brenton Strange. I'll probably take him as one of my tight ends just because I got Trevor Lawrence. And I'll go with Bryce Young, and I'll try to create another stack there later. So I'm going to take Brenton Strange. Just wondering if I should take a wide receiver at this point or just wait and just let's see what happens. There's potential for Luther Burden. It doesn't really do much for me. A Tua or Bryce, or let's just take Bryce Young. Yeah, so I'll take Bryce Young, and I'll potentially try to see if I can stack him with a Xavier Legette, a Jatavian Sanders, another tight end. I do need tight end, so I'm at later in the draft, so maybe that makes sense for me. But I just want to take 3 quarterbacks because I just like the play action is just so crazy. Like if I like it just happens. And you have 2 auto drafters in this room, so you just never know. And usually the computer gets quarterback happy. So I feel like the one later in the 11th spot, J7373C, is auto drafting. So he has 1 quarterback, 1 running back, 8 wide receivers, and 2 tight ends. Thank you very much, Draftkings, auto drafting, computer, AI, whatever it is. Thank you for the 1 quarterback, 1 running back, 8 wide receivers, and 2 tight ends. J7373C says. And his quarterback, Stroud. Kittle's is tight end. With Kelsey, he's only rolling with Devon Achane. That's it. Doesn't give a damn about anybody else. It's him and Achane for life, buddy. Yeah. God. And then we have Patrick 1231, who has 3 quarterbacks, 2 running backs, 5 wide receivers, and 2 tight ends. And his running back room consists of James Cook and Nick Chubb. Wow. If this was last year, I think I'd be way too happy for this draft, but it's not. Chubb is pretty much done, bud. Then he takes Kareem Hunt. Wow. Is this, play action is just wild, man, to me. I just love how it goes. So like I was saying before, I did take Bryce Young because, as you can see, the quarterbacks are going. I'm not even up to there's still 7 picks left, and there's only Geno Smith, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson left. And maybe if you're a Daniel Jones believer, if you believe in that guy, although I don't know why you would. Yeah, so that's why I took Bryce Young at that stage. I think Geno's probably going to go soon here. So there's no guarantee he makes it back to me anyways, even if I was to skip and go somewhere else. So yeah, but you never know. I should probably figure out what I'm going to do here. So I have a 3 quarterback, 4 running back, 5 wide receiver, 1 tight end build. I think I'll probably take a wide receiver, and I'll probably take Romeo Doubs. But I do like Dante Thornton, and I have Xavier Legette as well. And what happened to Henry? So Geno Smith did make it back. So sorry to kind of get on that board there. Let's take Rico Dowdle here, and let's take Xavier Legette. So I will hold off on the tight ends. Did reach quite a bit to make my stack here of the Carolinas Panthers. The Carolina Panthers, Xavier Legette and Rico Dowdle, not the most 2 exciting players, not the players I probably want. They are the Kirkland version of Chuba Hubbard and Tet McMillan, but that's okay. Everyone loves a little bit of Kirkland brand in their life, and that's what I've done with Rico Dowdle and Xavier Legette. So obviously I am just punting tight end. I'm going to probably have to take, I wonder if I can have Gesicki fall to me, so I can maybe perhaps get all 3 pass catchers for the Bengals that are not, 3 of the top, I guess the top 3 pass catchers in that offense. So, Yoshi Voss puts his hand up. Yoshi Voss has something to say about that, or Yoshi Voss has entered the chat. But I guess like if I don't have Burrow, obviously, right? But I'll if I need to take the top 3, I'll that's not too bad, right? So Mason Taylor goes. Oh, I liked Mason Taylor. I was hoping I can grab him later in the draft in my next pick, just because he still has that Q next to his name. But he came back to practice today, I think. So he had a high ankle sprain and he's back at practice. So that's awesome. Hopefully he's feeling well. He's a rookie, so maybe he wants to show out and not lose his opportunity. So hopefully he's not coming back too early and re-aggravates that injury. But I think he's going to be awesome in that Jets offense, just because Justin Fields does target his tight end. Okay, you gotta understand that Justin Fields is a tight end whisperer, or he just loves them. Cole Kmet a couple of years ago had a great year with him. Freiermuth did really well when Fields was in there. So Justin Fields as a running quarterback. And here's a PSA: running quarterbacks love their tight ends. Okay, if you're a running quarterback, you love your tight end. Okay, that's why Lamar loves Andrews. Justin Fields loves his tight ends. Goddard's not too bad, still gets and then even Josh Allen, he's got Kincaid, obviously but he does target his tight ends, right? And Dawson Knox has been kicking around and still and still has a pulse, right, in that team. So yeah. So we have a 3. I'm good for quarterback. I'm done there, obviously. Running back, I probably use one more. I have Josh Jacobs, Tony Pollard, Travis Etienne, Jalen Warren, and Rico Dowdle. So I just need one. Maybe I could fill with a rookie later in the draft, or a Sean Tucker, who I like. And for wide receivers, I have currently 6. I have the Chasing Higgins. I have Jamison Williams, and then Cortland Sutton, and Matthew Golden, and Xavier Legette. So I'm okay on there. And my tight end so far is Brent Strange. So I am up on the clock here. I will be taking Mike Gesicki. It just makes sense. Now, I'm just trying to think if I should take Dante Thornton, who I like quite a bit. If I take Taj Brooks, to kind of ensure I get the let's take Dante Thornton. I'm not taking Taj Brooks. I wish I just don't I don't know. Maybe that's a misstep on my part. Maybe not taking Taj Brooks. But with Taj Brooks, I just don't know. You know what? I can't say that for sure. He is the 3rd running back on that team. And obviously if Chase Brown goes down, then there's probably going to be, he's going to take over. So maybe I should have stuck to the Cincinnati stack, sans Joe Burrow. But let's see what happens. Like I said, this room's kind of weird. Maybe it might slip by everybody and maybe I can get them again. But if not, that's just one of those things you should just chalk up to, picking the wrong guy. And that happens. At the end of the day, it's for fun. We don't, it is what it is. Watch Taj Brooks step in week 15 and score like 30 points. And then everyone will come back and just kick me in the nuts. That's okay. Philly Mike OG. Wow, Max Crosby just got traded to the Baltimore Ravens for 3 firsts and Bateman. Holy smokes. Is that true? I'm kind of just been doing this draft. I haven't really been able to check. Thanks, man. Come on. I don't see anything on ESPN, so I don't think that really happened, but not bad. Created some excitement in the chat. I like that. I like that. That's all right. I wonder, 3 firsts and Bateman. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe 3 firsts a lot though. I don't think that's, yeah, never mind. I don't think I'm not giving 3 firsts for Max Crosby. 3 firsts is crazy. Never mind. I'm looking back at that and thinking about that now, right now, and 3 firsts is not happening. There is a prayer, people. I said Taj Brooks might come back to me, and there's potential for it to happen. Let's see what happens here. 4 picks left. Load factors on auto draft. If I know Draftkings, they're probably listening on this conversation. They're probably gonna kick me in the nuts right now and take Taj Brooks, but let's see what happens. But if not, it is what it is. I got Sanders lined up as my 3rd tight end, and we will call it a day. And then just pick one random idiot as my last pick. But please, 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 please let me get Taj. I'm sorry, I won't do that again, I promise. Damn it. Load factor. Oh, it takes Yoshi Voss. Wrong Bengal. That's okay. It worked out for us, everybody. Let's take Taj Brooks. And now that week 14 30-point game will be hanging in my basket here. And let's just take Sanders to roll it out. So worked out. I obviously got lucky there. Like I said, looking back at it, I probably would have picked him before Dante Thornton, but all is well. It worked out for me. Maybe the luck of the stream. Maybe Philly Mike OG with the fake trade was what we needed. Hope everyone's liking what's going on here. If you could, please hit a like, hit a subscribe. It would help quite a bit. It would help me. It would help my confidence. It would help me feel good. And today, it'd be something I could tell my kids about. You know, not many dads get the opportunity to go tell their kids that somebody liked them today. I subscribed. It's not really going to make a difference to them. They don't give 2 shits. But, you know, your dad needs to be able to brag about something because I can't brag until at least week 17 to see if any of these best ball teams actually make it through. But let's look back here on the team. We have a team so far of 3, 6, 7, and 3. 3 quarterbacks, 6 running backs, 7 wide receivers, and 3 tight ends. My quarterbacks are Jordan Love, Trevor Lawrence, and Bryce Young. My running backs are Josh Jacobs, Tony Pollard, Travis Etienne Jr., Jalen Warren, Rico Dowdle, and Taj Brooks. My wide receivers consist of Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Jameson Williams, Cortland Sutton, Matthew Golden, Xavier Legette, Dante Thornton, and my tight ends are Jatavian Sanders, Mike Gesicki, and Brenton Strange. So obviously punting tight end, you are playing with fire, right? I do not have any exciting tight ends to look at. So that is the big risk. I did wait quite a bit on tight ends. So that's one thing I could probably look back at when we kind of go back through the draft to kind of see where I could have made some changes. That's probably something I would have done. Yeah, that tight end room's kind of scary because you really don't have like a top 2 option when I look at my tight ends, and that's something you probably kind of want with one of your tight ends. So yeah, I don't have that. So maybe looking back at my team, I'm pretty happy with my running backs and my wide receivers. Obviously Duami Brown is there for my stack, but at the same time, I think I might need to take another tight end, just because I feel like that's a position that's not as strong for me. So if it happens, I will take Theo Johnson there. I think, a starting tight end, he's going to be playing majority of the snaps as your 20th round pick, whatever, right? At least he's on the field. At least he's going to see the field. So if everything works out, and that doesn't, Theo Johnson gets drafted. So I don't know if there's anybody else that's available that kind of, maybe I take a Luke Musgrave. What's going on with Luke? What's he doing? So maybe I take a Luke Musgrave. Is there any confidence in that pick? No. Do I have Jordan Love? Yes. So it's a natural stack partner. And really, Luke Musgrave is unfortunately one injury. If an injury was to happen, is one injury away from taking over and being in that sole tight end position. So it's one of those things like, I do have the quarterback, so why not just take the tight end as well to go with it? Like I was saying, I think I'm okay with running backs. There's Marshawn Lloyd, which wouldn't be bad because he's there's potential for him to be the handcuff or the backup to Josh Jacobs if anything was to ever happen. Oh, this is a good one. This is a good problem to have. Who do I take? Anybody in the chat want to say who should I take? Musgrave or Marshawn Lloyd? Oh, that's tricky. I took Marshawn Lloyd. Like I said, I'm going with either a injury the top guy to be in order for either Musgrave or Marshawn Lloyd to play. So, what can you do, right? Hindsight's 2020 when it comes to that. So, like in terms of this, I don't know. Yeah, Marshawn Lloyd, like I was talking about before, unfortunately, injury history is long. Injury frequency is quite often. So if he can stay healthy, then he has an opportunity to be at least a backup running back for him. But if not, for Josh Jacobs, but if not, and he falls himself on the IR or is just injured throughout the season, I think then he's pretty much done. He's kind of following the Kendre Miller biography. Both running backs promising when they got drafted, but unfortunately have not been able to stay healthy and even push anybody on their respective teams to kind of get some playing time. So, it's an insurance policy. At the end of the day, if Josh Jacobs goes down, Marshawn Lloyd stays healthy, and gets the trust of the coaching staff, and like, who do they have? Emmanuel Wilson, Chris Brooks as the running backs. Like, no one you're got to be scared of. If Marshawn Lloyd, he is pretty good. it's just like I said, is his only knock is his injury history, right? If he can stay healthy, he's gonna play, and yeah, so fingers crossed that he can. But that's the team. Jordan Love, Trevor Lawrence, Bryce Young, Josh Jacobs, Tony Pollard, Travis Etienne, Jalen Warren, Rico Dowdle, Taj Brooks, and Marshawn Lloyd. Chase and Higgins, Jameson Williams, Cortland Sutton, Matthew Golden, Xavier Legette, Dante Thornton Jr., and Jatavian Sanders, Brenton Strange, and Mike Gesicki. So just obviously didn't land Burrow, but like I said, you just adjust. You kind of stick to your course. Like I talked about, you still have you pick a team. You have Cincinnati, take some pass catchers. It is what it is. Just because you don't have the quarterback doesn't mean you don't have to stick to the team. If for any reason Cincinnati goes off, Joe Burrow's got to pass to somebody. Somebody's catching those touchdowns. So the more pass catchers you have, the better chance you have as to, getting those touchdowns in a different format. Obviously receiving. Would it be ideal to have Joe Burrow 100%? But like I said, when you have a guy taking them naked in the 4th round, when he has 3 running backs, what can you do? Okay. So, are there any wild teams up here? Yeah. Big Hoss started off with 4 running backs and a quarterback. He didn't do too bad. He picked up Odunze, Judy, Godwin, Keenan Allen, Mims Jr. Godwin would be a good pick if he's able to come back and be healthy. That's not a bad pick there. Romeo Dobbs, Shadur Sanders as his 2nd quarterback, and Tyler Shuck as his 3rd quarterback. So, Burrows, anything happen to Burrows? Actually, my team would be done if Burrows just goes down anyways. So, what am I talking about? But yeah, he has no insurance there. We have the 12th spot there, taking 10 wide receivers, and his running backs are James Cook, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, and Blake Corum. If this was 2023 or 2022, passable. But man, for 2025, if Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt are 2 of your 4 running backs, you're done, bud. Thanks for that $3 donation to your to this pod. Really appreciate it. And the 10 wide receivers: Amon-Ra St. Brown, Worthy, Cup, Bateman, McMillan, Hopkins, Royals, Tesla, Wester, Mechie. So 10 wide receivers, still a lot of shit in there. Yeah, a few teams, 3 teams with 4 tight ends. So that's where the tight ends were hiding out. Ingram, Kincaid, Schultz, Theo Johnson. Like, really, Theo Johnson was very important at that point. But anyways, Gray, Jonnu, Ferguson, Kraft, and then we have, oh my God, Trey McBride with Colston Loveland, Elijah Arroyo, and Tyler Conklin. Dude, when you have Trey McBride, you can probably stop at 2 tight ends. That's something I normally do. If I get Bowers or Trey McBride, I don't know if I go up to 3 tight ends unless there's extremely a really good value or something like I get later in the draft. But I'm confident to go with 2 tight ends. I don't like 3 tight ends is totally fine. I think, yeah, but I think you can wait on that one with Trey McBride or Brock Bowers or even Kittle. I think if you have one of those 3, you can wait on your 2nd and 3rd tight end till later in the draft. Like, at that point, you're relying on your elite tight end other than his bye week to put up 10 to 15 points. So yeah, fill up your other positions. That's the benefit of elite tight end, and that's why, like I was saying, if you're taking Josh Jacobs over Trey McBride, At least I don't have to worry about a tight end. Like, when did I take my first tight end? Around 12. So, yeah, so I could have taken a running back at that stage if I'm looking at if I'm playing that type of format, and I could have got a Dylan Sampson, right? Or a Tootin. Yeah, obviously Brent Strange probably won't outscore any of these two. If Dylan Sampson gets a lot of playing time, or Tootin gets playing time, he's not outscoring them. Yeah. So that is the draft. Like I said, these low dollar drafts on Draftkings, just with the number of players and just because of the time period, as like I said, we're coming up to the season. You got a lot of people that are just kind of exploring best ball. They're starting to come into the streets. So it's kind of interesting. Rooms are fun. They're wild, and there's so much going on. Once again, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy this content. Like I said, best ball drafts throughout the summer, throughout the month of August, as we approach the season, they're coming up. Draftkings, underdogs. I'm going to get some drafters in there. So going to be pushing those quite a bit in the next few weeks as we get closer. So much news coming out. Preseason week number 2 is coming this week. So more playing time for potential starters, some more backfield situations clarifying. So it's very exciting to kind of get an idea of what to do when it comes to those players. So once again, thanks again for joining, and your dad is out of here.